So in this video, we're going to see Democratic superstar Jasmine Crockett deliver a smackdown to House Speaker MAGA Mike Johnson. Let's watch it. I'll give you my thoughts as we go halfway through, and then we'll unpack it in full towards the end of the video. Let's get into it.
Here in the Situation Room, Congresswoman, thanks so much for joining us. You heard the House Speaker. I assume you heard what he said. He's basically blaming the Democrats, people like you, if this continuing resolution is defeated in the House later today.
Listen, he can't blame me for not wanting to be his doormat or for the Democrats not wanting to be their doormat. I mean, all we consistently hear from them is they have this mandate that the American people gave them. Well, I am saying that I have a mandate from my district, and it does not involve cutting Medicaid, cutting Medicare. And if we're going to just focus on this continuing resolution, let's talk about it, because I know you just talked to my other colleague from Texas, and he was boasting about the increase in pay for certain service members while not talking about the fact that those that have already served our country, our veterans, that they're going to lose so much of their care. We know that right now they're looking to cut close to 80,000 people from the Veterans Affairs. And then in addition to that, in this CR, all the money for bills that we've passed before, specifically that extra money that we put in for the toxic burn pits, they want to take that out. So it should not be a either or when it comes to those that have served our country or those that are willing to serve our country. And right now they're pitting them against one another. We see as they've decided they're not going to do any more town halls. So I don't know if Tony even knows what his constituents want, that they are consistently getting railed against because of the way that they're treating veterans by making sure that these firings, they're not standing up for the people, they're not standing up for the House. So no, I'm not going to vote for the continuing resolution. The Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the White House. If they want to get their draconian stuff passed that's going to hurt my constituents, they're going to do it by themselves.
And what's very worrisome is that so many veterans who work in federal government agencies are now being fired for various reasons as a result.
Approximately 1/3 of our workforce for the federal government, they're veterans.
Veterans, and we want to make sure those veterans are protected by all means. I want to play a little.
So just really quick before we move forward, this is something I need your guys' help with as Americans, as people that live in the United States. One thing I've always known about America and Americans is they're very patriotic. You know, they really believe in honoring and showing a sign of respect for the people who it is that put their life on the line for them, for the flag, for the country. So I want to know, how is it that Republicans are so okay with trying to make these cuts that are going to massively affect veterans, but yet still they always want to make it that they're the party who are for veterans, they're the people who believe in, you know, honoring and respecting the flag and stuff like that. Curious, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below the video, but let's carry on with the video.
Little clip of what we heard from the House Speaker and get your reaction. So listen to this.
They're planning to vote down this simple bill. They are going to try to shut the government down. Every House Democrat will participate in this, it looks like. That would be a shame if it's true. I hope some of them will have a moment of clarity themselves and do the right thing, but it looks like they're going to try to shut down the government. It's a striking new posture for Democrats who have always said, they've just been apoplectic about the prospect of government shutdowns.
You want to react?
Yeah, I'm going to say that we don't want the government to shut down. And frankly, this president has single-handedly not just been shutting the government down, but literally trying to dismantle it. And I haven't heard a word out of them. In addition to that, we know that we have been talking about impoundment, which is basically saying, hey, the power of the purse belongs to Congress. Well, guess what? Our speaker doesn't act that way. He doesn't get out there and say, hey, Mr. President, you can't do this. Once we've appropriated dollars, then these dollars are supposed to be for this. And one of the things that they're not talking about in this continuing resolution is the fact that they are going to give even more latitude. This is basically going to be a slush fund for Elon and Donald Trump. They are getting rid of the parameters around the spending. I think the comparison was that we have maybe 88 total pages of kind of whatever the parameters are for how the monies are to be spent, but the majority of the discretion goes to Trump and Elon, when we normally had, I think in our last one, typically we have about 2,800 pages.
We know there are a handful potentially of Republican House members who are going to vote against the continuing resolution, and that could torpedo it. But do you see a bunch of your fellow Democrats voting for it to keep the government open?
Not that I've heard. And you know what? It's interesting that the speaker knows how to call out my colleagues, but this is their bill. So why not call out your own colleagues, the ones that elected you to be their speaker? Listen, Nancy Pelosi didn't have these problems. So if they need some help, maybe you should tune into a woman, because maybe it just takes a woman to get it done.
Like you, is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
And you're going to vote against the continuing?
I'm going to vote against it. Now, if they want to decide that they're going to start negotiating in good faith, remember our last continuing resolution? Remember, it was sunk because Elon decided to go on Twitter. And at this point in time, he had never graced the Oval Office. And so if this is how they want to govern, then you're going to have to get your own house in order. But you can't come to us and just say, here, take it. And we're supposed to say, yes, thank you so much for making us take it. That is not why we were elected. And we want the American people to see that these people cannot function. Well, you've been talking about a stopgap. Everybody's talking about a stopgap.
The continuing resolution.
The continuing resolution. But it's not a stopgap, right? Because for everyone at home, just know that our bills, when we do appropriations, they are for 1 year, right? And they go from September to September. This isn't a stopgap. They've not been able to pass their own appropriations bills out of the House in the entire year. And so now they want to do this all the way to September. They never would have passed appropriations.
I took notes of what the House Speaker, Mike Johnson, was saying, and he said this continuing resolution that's going to come up for a vote later today, which you will oppose, contains, he says, no cuts to Medicare, Medicaid, or Social Security.
Yeah, so it is interesting that obviously we passed the budget resolution, or they passed the budget resolution that is going to require them to go into these cuts, but they've not got their single bills passed. We've got 12 specific kind of categories. And so for everybody at home, when you think about it, when you're paying your bills, you've got your electricity, you've got your house note, you've got that. So that's what we do. We have 12 separate bills, and they've not been able to pass those 12 individual bills. And in those, that is where they are prescribing for the cuts to those specific programs. Now in this, they are prescribing other cuts, such as they want to get rid of money that was in the Inflation Reduction Act, and they want to take back monies, obviously, for our veterans and things like that. So I don't know if they ever plan to actually go through the 12 single appropriations bills going forward. I mean, when you're passing a continuing resolution for the entire fiscal year, I don't know why they won't try to keep doing this. I don't know what they're doing.
I mean, as you guys that have been subscribed to the channel from early on, I mean, to be fair, the channel's only about 3 weeks old, but one of the things that you'll know is that we love Jasmine Crockett on this channel, because I honestly do believe she is exactly what the rest of the Democratic Party needs to be like. She's not afraid to show up. She's putting herself everywhere, that omnipresence that I keep speaking on. And she doesn't mind sticking it to the Republicans, regardless of who it is that you are. Now, I've got a question for you guys. You guys will probably know a bit more than me about this, but when I've took a look into politics and especially everything that's going on in America, I've always heard that maga Mike Johnson, the House Speaker, he's meant to be a Christian. I've always heard that. But for a Christian, he sure does lie a lot. Would you guys agree with that? Let me know in the comment section below. He sure does lie a lot. And secondly, how is it that a Christian has no problem licking the boots and bowing down to a convicted felon, an individual who's been convicted of SA, and someone who just lies a lot? Like, it's just completely beyond me. But look, that's what I like I said, about Jasmine Crockett. She tells it as it is, and she speaks on. And look at the way towards the end of the video, she looked at the camera and broke things down for people that are watching that may not understand exactly how government works. When she gave the example of, you take a look and, basically in terms of like budgeting, when she brought that down, that's something that I really, really like. And I think that's something that a lot more people need, because a lot of people don't know anything about politics and they don't know how government works. And what we got to understand is that Republicans, right wing, it happens right here in the UK, they take that fact that a lot of people don't know how government works, they don't know a lot of government lingo, and they use that against their people. They use that against their people. And unfortunately, you know, this isn't a disrespect. This is just 100% factual. You know, a lot of MAGA are people that are kind of uneducated. So they're not really going to understand what's being spoken about when they're talking about certain bills and they're talking about certain things that's happening, you know, within government. So it's really good just to see the way that Jasmine Crockett does that. She looks into the camera, she looks at you eye to eye, and she gives you information and puts it in a way that enables you and helps you to be able to understand it. This is what we need more of. I genuinely do believe we need more Jasmine Crockett's that are gonna, you know, have that omnipresence, and they're gonna really go out there and stick it to MAGA, stick it to Republicans. She takes no mess, and we need more of that. But let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section below this video. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. You know, it's good to see how it is that she stood up to, you know, Mike Johnson lying about Democrats shutting down the government. But what do you guys think about what they're doing within these bills that are going to cut money from veterans? Really intrigued to hear your guys' opinions on that one. Let me know in the comment section below this video. But listen, as per usual, if you appreciate this video, go below, hit the thumbs up button, purely just for the YouTube algorithm. And if you are brand new to the channel and you're interested in hearing an outsider's opinion on American politics, all things anti-Donald Trump, anti-Republican, anti-MAGA, go below and hit the subscribe button. I'd be glad to have you as part of the family. But as usual, guys, I will see you guys in the next one.